We are here again with Eric Landon. Eric, are you tired of hearing from me?
I'm actually not tired of hearing from you.
Good, because we have some questions about our TOSH State Select ODP program that I think we need to answer for some of our members.
Great.
So, the kids have gone through tryouts. Well, there's one more tryout left. What's next for them?
At the conclusion of the next tryout, the coaches will pick in the youngest age groups. They're going to pick 60 players for their pool, and then in the ages the 06s, 05s, 04s, 03s, and 02s, they're going to pick around 40 players.
Once you have your pool play narrowed down to the 40 or 60, whatever that number is for each age group, are those players set in stone?
Those players are set in stone, but this is an identification program. So throughout the fall season, the staff will be evaluating their age groups and watching players. And if there's players that they've missed, they have the ability to bring those players into the first week of training in November. And that's a good motivation for a lot of these kids that maybe don't make the final 40, but feel like, hey, I should have been in there. And coaches are going to make mistakes, and so we give them. The nice thing about the summer, like you said, is that we now have an entire fall to evaluate and look at players that maybe were cut from the 40 or new players that have moved in, or we just didn't see them, and then we can invite them into the first week of training.
So they pick these 40 or 60 players, and then what happens with that pool of people?
Those kids will break after tryouts, and we'll have a break for the fall season, and then we'll come back in November, and we're going to do a series of trainings. The coaches will do up to about 8 trainings leading up into our combine.
Okay, so what is the combine then?
Combine is they'll pick the top 22 players from their pools, and they'll travel down to Mesquite where we do a little 3-day mini camp. And we'll go in on Friday afternoon, we'll have a training session, and then Saturday morning we'll have a light training session, and then we actually play Nevada's ODP group on Saturday afternoon and evening, and then Sunday we'll have a little regen session, and then we'll come home.
Sweet. How have we typically done against Nevada?
We typically do really well, but it's an event for us that they come in on Saturday to play us, but we've actually it's a developmental event for us and an identification event for us, so a little bit different. They come in with their teams that they're taking to ODP championships, and we're there to vent through the 22 and find out who our top 18 are to take to ODP championships.
Okay, so when is ODP championships?
ODP championships is the first week of January.
Okay, and so do all of the age groups go to ODP championships?
We take our 06s, 05s, 04s, 03s, and 02s to ODP championships.
So they're playing Nevada again there. What other?
They'll play the other 13 state association programs
In the West?
in the West.
Or just all over?
In just the West, in the West region.
Cool. If they win there, do they go on somewhere else?
That's a really good question. There used to be a national championships, but moving forward, they've eliminated the national championships.
Okay, so we have the older kids that are traveling to the combine and then to regional championships. What do the younger kids do then?
The younger kids continue to train through November and December. And then at the end of January, we take them all, so there's no one cut from the pool. We take them all down to Mesquite, and they do their own combine. We don't bring Nevada in for that. That's just that's our group, and it's a mini camp Friday again. We get down there Friday, and we actually start them off with a street soccer tournament, which is really fun, and it's mixed. It's a mixed scrambled bag where we just basically randomly pick teams. And then they train and do inter-squad games on Saturday, and then training on Sunday, and then we come home Sunday afternoon.
What do you mean mixed? Is it age group mixed or boys and
Yeah,
girls?
so we'll mix this year. We'll mix. We'll have a boys group and a girls group, but we'll mix the 08s and the 07s will be mixed together. and they'll play a number of games, ending in a championship game that we get, all the kids will come around to watch that. So we'll have a boys champion and a girls champion, and it's called the Bruce Cuppet Cup. So the winner gets the Bruce Cuppet Cup.
Is there a cup?
There is actually a cup, yeah.
Do people drink out of it?
They run around the field with it. It's crazy how much they want to win it. So.
I don't know if you're lying to me right now.
No, I'm being dead serious. They run around, they take their shirts off, and they swing them like this.
Awesome. Okay. So recently we had some kids that just participated in region camp. So how do they get selected for that?
Well, that's an identification process. When they're selected for ODP championships, they go down to Phoenix, and the West region has their regional staff that's there, and they're scouted and they're selected from there to attend camp. And then when they attend camp, they're selected for regional teams and national teams.
Sweet. So what's the whole overall goal of the ODP program for our TOSH State Select players?
The overall goal is to provide another avenue for them to be identified for regional teams, national teams, for them to grow as a player, play with other kids they don't usually play with, which I've said before, and ultimately be around coaches as well that aren't their normal everyday club coach. And they get to take a lot of that, they get to take what their club coach is saying, and they're learning from their club coach, and now they get a new coach who's saying maybe some things that are along the same lines, just saying it different, and they're able to put all those together and hopefully mold them into the player that they want to be and reach the goals they want to reach.
That's awesome. So when you talk about identification, there's going to be essentially, I'm going to just call them scouts for the region camp or for the national camps, right? And then what about any college coaches? Do they typically go to these types of things?
College coaches are in attendance, and they're scouting obviously the older age groups. And we've had a number of kids that have been selected to go play in college based off ODP championships. But I think it's also just another, for a college coach, they're tracking these kids throughout their club seasons and possibly high school seasons, and then the ODP championships is another way for them to see, hey, how do they adapt to the environment where they're playing with other kids, playing with different coach, they're playing against different competition. It's maybe a little bit more stressful environment than a normal tournament, and so it's a good way for a college coach to see, how are these kids going to react. They're away from home, staying in a hotel, no parents are around, so I think that's a good indication for college coaches to take into consideration.
That makes sense. That's pretty awesome because they show how they can adapt and show how they adjust to playing against other high-level talent.
Yep.
That's awesome. We have girls in the morning from 9 to 12, and then boys in the afternoon from 1 to 4. So if you didn't make it to the first 2 weeks of tryouts, there still is one additional day that you can come and try.